This bill is being described as a turning point, one that exposes the deep divide between the political elite and everyday citizens. While some lawmakers celebrate with champagne and photo ops, millions of Americans are bracing for layoffs, higher bills, and shrinking safety nets. In the coming months, the true impact of this legislation will unfold. But one thing is clear: far from being a beautiful victory for the people, this bill may go down as one of the most damaging acts of economic sabotage in recent history. In what some politicians are calling a big, beautiful victory, Congress has passed a sweeping piece of legislation that could have devastating consequences for millions of Americans. Marketed as a comprehensive reform package meant to strengthen the economy and modernize the nation, critics warn that this bill is little more than a gift to the wealthy and corporations, while working-class Americans, small businesses, and vulnerable communities are left to bear the burden. The shiny exterior, what the bill promises. Supporters of the bill tout it as a landmark achievement. According to lawmakers who pushed the bill through, it includes provisions for major tax cuts for large corporations, deregulation of key industries, increased defense spending, infrastructure privatization efforts, reduce government waste in social programs. They claim these measures will boost economic growth, create jobs, and unleash the power of the free market. But behind the polished speeches and optimistic talking points lies a harsh reality. The ugly truth: who will pay the price? One cuts to social safety nets. Buried within the hundreds of pages of legislation are severe cuts to vital programs such as Medicaid, food assistance, SNAP, affordable housing funds, and unemployment benefits. Millions who rely on these services to survive will face devastating hardships. Single mothers, the elderly, the disabled, and working-class families could be left without a safety net as the cost of living continues to rise. 2. Corporate welfare over working Americans. While the wealthy and corporations are receiving substantial tax breaks, middle and lower-income Americans are unlikely to see meaningful relief. In fact, some estimates suggest the tax changes will eventually result in higher taxes for the middle class over time. The corporate tax cuts are permanent, while individual tax relief measures are temporary or phased out. 3. Higher healthcare and education costs. With deregulation in the healthcare industry and decreased funding for public education, everyday Americans could face rising healthcare premiums, drug prices, and tuition costs. Meanwhile, for-profit corporations will have greater freedom to prioritize profits over people's well-being. 4. Environmental rollbacks. The bill also includes provisions that roll back environmental protections, opening public lands and waterways to corporate exploitation. This could lead to increased pollution, environmental degradation, and long-term harm to public health, particularly in low-income and rural communities. 5. National debt skyrockets. Ironically, despite claims of fiscal responsibility, the bill is projected to add trillions of dollars to the national debt over the next decade. Future generations will be left footing the bill for today's corporate giveaways. Public backlash mounts. As the details of the bill become clearer, public outrage is mounting. Protests have erupted in major cities, and advocacy groups are warning that this legislation could push millions into poverty, widen the wealth gap, and deepen economic inequality. Some economists argue that far from stimulating growth, the bill could trigger a financial crisis by inflating corporate bubbles while leaving consumers cash-strapped.